This is always ready, Matt Cardona, and you're watching WrestleSlam.
Well, what's happening, Matt? You have, as you know, you have an awesome fan base here in Ireland. Us Irish love you to bits. First of all, it's been a crazy 12 months for you. A lot's happened. How could you cap the last 12 months for you heading into an awesome new year?
Man, this has been the greatest year of my career, 100%. I knew I had to do something, right? I mean, 2020 was a crazy year for everybody. And I made that decision. All right, well, New Year's Day, I'm going to hit the ground running. And that's exactly what I did. Starting the year, debuting for Impact, Hard to Kill. I mean, just look what I've done since then. I'm not going to pat myself on the back, but I've done a lot of cool stuff. And to start 2022, again, Hard to Kill. 1 year anniversary, main event, Impact World Championship on the line. It's been a hell of a year, and 2022 is going to be way better.
Definitely. Now, speaking of your opponents, W. Morrissey, Moose, guys you know quite well, what's your take on both lads? You know, absolute animals. They're beasts. But look, we all know that it's there for the taking. You know what I mean? You're a hot favorite, in my opinion, going into this match.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm not going to sit here and put those guys down. They're both great competitors. Moose is at the top of his game. W. Morrissey as well. And they're two big, strong dudes. But they're not friends anymore. They're against each other also. So it's every man for himself. If it was a 2-on-1 situation, I'd be a little worried. But it's every man for himself. We all want that title. Moose wants to hang on to it. W. Morrissey wants it. He's here for that redemption story. But I want it just as bad, if not more. So it's going to be three hungry animals going for that belt.
And Matt, it's fair to say it's one of the biggest championships, you know, in all of wrestling. We all know what it means. You know, it's a huge honor to have such an accolade on the CV. But obviously it means a lot to you going into this match.
Yeah, I mean, look at the history of Impact Wrestling, almost 20 years of Impact Wrestling. So I would love to be the face of the company, wear that championship proudly, bring it to all the other shows that I do, you know, have it in the backdrop here like I do for these interviews and when I record the Major Wrestling Fair podcast. You know, I really think that I could help Impact. And guess what? Impact's helping me, right? The history of Impact, the history of Matt Cardona, it's out there for everyone to look up, right? We both had a lot of highs, both had a lot of lows, but we're both on the rise. So I think it's only fitting that I walk out of Hard to Kill as the face of the company and the Impact World Champion.
And deservedly so. Matt, we have to speak a look. We know it's been you know, it's many good years. We you know, you're active. We all know who you were. What's it like to finally have the chains off? You know what I mean in that term? Because look,
yeah,
you have been held back. This past 12 months, we're seeing what you can really do. We know what you can do. But finally, you know, you're making the impact on the indie scene. Impact are absolutely thrilled to have you. The fans are loving it. What's it like to finally have the chains off and to unleash?
Yeah, this has definitely been the best year of my career. Not just the most successful, but the most fun. I'm a very creative person, so I've been able to try a lot of things, been able to kind of explore within myself, and it's been a blast. And man, it's just been one hell of a year. I couldn't have predicted that it would be this great. I didn't have a plan exactly when I started the year. I knew that I was going to hit the ground running and make some impacts, no pun intended. But, you know, I didn't wake up on January 1st of last year and said, okay, I think in July I'm going to do this death match thing. Like, no, I'm always ready, right? So when an opportunity presents itself, big or small, I capitalize and I make the most of it.
You're very interactive with the fans. That's one thing I love. I knew back in the day, if I tweet you, you're always going to like it. You're always going to kind of interact. How much does the fans mean to you? Because, look, you know, a lot of wrestlers won't interact. Some will. The ones that do, obviously, they have a massive fan base, and the fans appreciate that. But what do the fans mean to you most of all? Because you have an awesome interaction with fans.
Yeah, so a decade ago, I revamped my career again when I started Z True Long Island Story, this little YouTube show that turned – man, it changed the business. I don't care what anybody says. I mean, it did. And it was because of the fans. It was because of the interaction with the fans and the connection with the fans. Because without the fans supporting me and interacting with me in the show and my social media, it just would have been me talking to, you know, the camera. But the fans made it this revolution. They made it so much more. And a decade later, those original fans, they still remember, and I've been making new fans along the way. So yeah, I'm on my phone constantly, but you know what? I realize that the connection with the fans is what makes me. So it comes with the territory.
Oh, I love that. Now, we have to speak of two things. Matt, obviously, Forbidden Door. Look, it's hot and cold. It was obviously a big team when it first kicked off. Obviously, you have the freedom to kind of, do Impact stuff, indie stuff. Obviously, it's great to have that on the plate. You know what I mean? Because we know chains are off. We see wrestlers that kind of work on the indie scene, work with Impact. Obviously, it's great to have that small bit of freedom to kind of, gallivant.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun just showing up anywhere, whether it be Impact or GCW or NWA or different independent promotions. I like that. As a fan in the late 90s, it was always cool to say who's going to show up on Nitro, who's going to show up on Raw. And I feel like I have that ability right now, not having a actual contract anywhere. I could show up anywhere.
And it's good. It's obviously good to have that. For the fans, it's unpredictable, and that's what we need. Now, speaking of free agents, Matt, there's a lot of guys throughout your history in wrestling. A lot of guys being mentioned for perhaps Impact in 2022. Would you be more than welcome to see Bray Wyatt, Braun, all these guys come across and work with you in Impact? Because look, they're all great matches. Any match you put with Matt and say Braun, Bray, Moose, they're all 5-star matches. But anyone in particular you'd like to come and see join Impact?
Oh man, I mean, Impact is it's a great place for new superstars to get noticed and for superstars to almost reinvent themselves and get noticed one more time. So that's why I love Impact. That's why I had to go. As for who would I like to show up in Impact, man, you just mentioned Bray, Braun. Those would be great names, but I want to think a little deeper, like guys maybe like a Tyler Breeze, somebody who people kind of forgot about, who I've been in the ring with personally. I know that he has all the tools, and if he just got off his butt and stopped playing some video games, he'd be great in the ring.
Well, he would. He's awesome. I've seen him at the live shows. He's great.
For sure.
He's great. Matt, speaking of movies, are we going to see you in any movies in the near future? You have the look, the physique, the talk, the skills, Are we going to see you in perhaps movies in 2022?
Listen, it's not my desire to be in any movies, but I'm not going to turn down a role. So if anybody listening or watching has a role for me, hit me up. Book Matt Cardona at gmail.com. I'll do your movie, but I have no, interest in auditioning for anything like that. I just don't, it's not my passion. Wrestling's my passion. The wrestling figures of the Major Wrestling Figure podcast, that's my passion, but I certainly will not turn down a movie role, if it makes sense. So if anybody out there has a movie role for me, hit me up.
No, I love it. Matt, speaking of Ireland and the UK and Europe, look, we're hoping that European tour comes next year. It's something I say on all the shows that we do with all the Impact stars, but how much are you missing Ireland and the UK?
Man, it's been such a long time because I used to go a couple times a year. So to not go at all in 2020, 2021, so it's been crazy just not going, because those fans are so rabid, because us U.S. superstars don't go there that often. So when we go, they make sure they're loud and excited, and it gives us the energy and the drive and the motivation. So I would love to go back as soon as this crazy world kind of gets back to whatever the new normal is.
Definitely. Speaking of crazy world, man, I just have to ask, how are you dealing with it? Look, obviously it's tricky. No one knows what's around the corner, but mentally and physically, how do you deal with it? Like, because obviously, you're good inspiration to all the young fans out there. So what's the best way to deal with it, in your opinion?
Yeah, honestly, I'm just kind of living my life day by day. Of course, I have some goals, short-term and long-term, but we got to just roll with the punches. I say always ready, and that's really not just a gimmick or catchphrase. You got to be ready, not just in the ring against an opponent, but like for life. You gotta instead of bitching and moaning, figure out a way to adjust and pivot and figure out the best thing for you.
I love it. Now, last of all, Matt, are you a Christmas man? Are you a festive man when it comes to Christmas? What would be on that Christmas dinner plate? In Ireland, we have all the spuds, all the poppies, the Murphys, the Guinness. Yeah. For you, how would you celebrate your Christmas if you do celebrate?
Well, I'm a huge Christmas guy. This year, I'm not going home to New York. I'm actually staying in Orlando. I'm going to Disney World on Christmas Day. And the night before, I'm actually going to another Impact superstar's house for Christmas dinner. Deonna Purrazzo, she's cooking up some Italian meatballs, some sausage, some spaghetti. So I'm very excited for that.
Epic. Matt, listen, it's a privilege and honour as always. We'll catch you in Ireland next year in the UK. Hopefully, Impact is back, European tour. Look after yourself. Have a great Christmas. We love you to bits in Ireland, and thank you for being awesome and cool.
All right. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.